All right, the time's come. We're working on the gel plate with alcohol inks. Now, I know I've done this before on lives, but I decided to go back to the lives and answer some of your questions, hopefully during this video. And we are going to have a lot of fun figuring out what works, what doesn't work, the best way to do this, and hopefully I inspire you and answer any questions you may have. If you watch the full video and you have questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section and I will get back to them as soon as I can. All right, for this technique, you are going to need a gel plate. It doesn't matter if it's tiny, big, short, small, it doesn't matter. You're also going to need a variety of different alcohol inks. You're going to need some hand sanitizer, and this one is 62.5% ethyl alcohol. That was one of the main questions, is how much alcohol is in my hand sanitizer. So this has 62.5%. You are also going to need a brayer, a variety of stencils. I also like to use a little bit of isopropyl alcohol. This has 91% in it, and I use this to kind of mist my alcohol background or my alcohol stuff that's going on here. And I also take the nozzle out or the cap off and then use the nozzle part to splatter on some isopropyl alcohol onto the background. I also like to use some bubble wrap to give more texture to the background. You're also going to need some 80-pound cardstock. You can use printer paper, but I find that using the Alcohol Lift ink reinker and the hand sanitizer, it just doesn't, it seeps in too much and it just kind of becomes a mess. So use 80-pound or higher. This is just some cheap cardstock. And the last thing is going to be Alcohol Lift ink reinker. This is used to lift up that alcohol ink from the gel plate. But if you don't have Alcohol Lift ink reinker, you definitely can use acrylic paint to lift up the alcohol ink off the gel plate. It's not going to yield the same result, but you can do it that way. All right, before we get started, I am going to share a little tip that I kind of discovered by accident. I was just kind of giving something a try and seeing if it would work. And what I did, instead of adding the Alcohol Lift reinker onto the gel plate with all of your alcohol ink on it, I used a separate gel plate, added a little bit onto the gel plate, and then I brayered it off and coated my brayer on the separate gel plate first, and then I added it to the plate with all of the alcohol ink on it. I hope that's making sense. I don't show this in this video, that's why I'm sharing it afterwards, but before I get started so that you can give that a try. I found that when I did it this way, the Alcohol Lift ink was distributed a little bit better and more evenly, and I got less lift when I was adding it onto the plate with all of that alcohol ink on it. So I hope that helps and I hope that makes sense. So to start off, imagine there's a line here. So on this side, I'm going to put the hand sanitizer, and then this side, I'm not going to put anything. And you're going to see how well the alcohol ink moves with the hand sanitizer on the gel plate and then without. So on this side, I'm just going to put a little bit of that hand sanitizer, and then I'm going to brayer it out. And I might work on this little tiny plate here just because. All right, so we're gonna do the same thing to each side, and I'm just going to add a little bit of eggplant. And you could already see how well the alcohol ink is spreading out on the side with the hand sanitizer. I have to work a little bit fast because the hand sanitizer will dry out, and that's why hand sanitizer works better than just using isopropyl alcohol, because isopropyl alcohol will dry out way too fast. All right, just kind of sprinkling. All right, so I'm using some Laguna now. I did use a little bit of Dijon and citrus. And then this last one is going to be pistachio. I think I might add just a tad bit more of the eggplant. All right, so what I like to do is just lightly kind of mix these colors together a little bit. And again, you want to work a little bit fast. Okay, and then we're just gonna kind of spread these out. I have to work a little bit different on this side versus the other side because these are kind of already drying up. So, all right, I'm gonna take the stencil, lay it right on top. For this one, I'm going to lay that right on top on this side. And then we're going to take a piece of cardstock. And this doesn't really matter too much because you're just kind of making that impression of the stencil into the gel plate and the alcohol ink. So no worries about anything being perfect. Okay, and some will lift up. On this side, it might lift up a little bit more because the hand sanitizer it doesn't dry as fast. Yep, so you could see that. I might spritz this side with a little bit of isopropyl alcohol, and then I'm gonna go back in and kind of lift up some of what's going on this side. There we go. Now we're going to lift that up, and then same thing with this one. Now we need to kind of let this dry. I'm just gonna take my hand and kind of fan it out a little bit. All right, now I'm going to take my isopropyl alcohol and then I'm just going to splatter on just a little bit. This is just gonna give a little bit more movement to that alcohol ink. All right, so I think I'm gonna go right in the middle here. Set this stencil like that. Here we're just gonna kind of do a little bit more design on the actual background. All right, so I'm going to take some felt on this blending tool and then I'm going to put some pebble on it, and then I have a stencil right in the center, and what I'm gonna do is just add a little bit more texture and interest to the background here. So I don't want it too dark, obviously. I'm gonna kind of blend that out a little bit and then just kind of go in and pounce that right over top of this background. Just like that. And then we're gonna lift up. That's going to look really cool. I'm gonna do a little bit in the corner here, and then I'm gonna do a little bit in this corner here. There we go. All right, now what I need to do is blend out this alcohol lift reinker, and you don't need a whole lot. You just move that away, because if you do too much, then it starts bleeding all together, and then you lose what you've been working on. So I'm gonna go this side first. Everything's falling. And then you just want to press that in really well. Whoops. And then just like that. Look at how amazing that looks. The alcohol lift reinker doesn't dry very fast, so I'm not too worried. Now we're gonna do this side. You will get similar results if you do not use the hand sanitizer on the gel plate. The only difference is you have a little bit more playtime with the alcohol inks when you use the hand sanitizer versus no hand sanitizer. So there you go. So as you could see where I added more of that eggplant, you could see where I spritzed the isopropyl alcohol on here. And this one's a little bit more defined actually than this one. So that's kind of interesting. I don't know if it shows up on camera, but both are absolutely beautiful. This is one of my favorite things. And to be honest, I haven't really been wanting to create. Just the idea of creating has been really daunting, I guess. It doesn't give me that like super excitement anymore, except when I sat down and decided that I need to do something, and the only thing I could think of was using alcohol inks on my gel plate. So here we are, I'm sharing it with you. All right, I'm actually going to try one more thing, or maybe a couple, we'll see. All right, I'm gonna spread this out, put the hand sanitizer on the whole gel plate. All right, and I'm actually going to add more eggplant because it's one of my favorites. Just all over, and maybe a little bit of pebble. This Dijon. Dijon is the color of my gel plate, so you can't even really see it coming up, but I love it. I love this color. All right, next we're going to use a little bit of pistachio. You could definitely go a little bit more artsy if you wanted to. I'm just kind of randomly putting on here. You could do an ombre effect. You could do monochromatic, whatever your creative heart desires, you can do. All right, I'm going to place this down here. I'm gonna lift this up. I'm gonna dry this a little bit. To help dry the hand sanitizer, I'm going to use my little blower tool. And I think I used a little bit too much hand sanitizer because I could see it's not as defined. The stencil isn't as defined as I would like it, but that's okay. We'll work with it. All right, so I'm gonna add some numbers to this one, and I have to remember to do it up, like backwards. Actually, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna take my felt here, add that pebble. And then just in a few little areas, I'm going to put that down. Just like that. You can keep going with adding stenciling and textures and stamping. You can even stamp and do all sorts of things, but I'm actually going to try to lift on rice paper. I don't think I've done this. I think I've tried it on collage paper, but not rice paper. All right, so this is the one that I have. This one is from Joggles, and I don't know. We'll see what we come up with. All right, so we need to add the reinker down here. And I'm just going to, oh, it's still a little bit wet because you could see that coming up. All right, this is going to be fun to see what we get here. I don't know. All right, now I'm going to lay this on top. I think I want to do this side. Just like that. All right, let's see. Oh, this is actually really cool. So it like fades into the paper, like soaks in, and it's just very faint. Oh, I absolutely love that. Because then you could still use this on a project without it being kind of like in your face color. Oh, I love that. Oh, very, very cool. I'm gonna have to get some plain rice paper to kind of play with. But I just have these in my closet and I haven't been using them, so. All right, I'm gonna try to do some prints on some book paper. See what we get. All right, I've tried many different color combinations, but this one is just the one that I love. So I'm just gonna stick with it. So we got some citrus, some pistachio, eggplant, of course. What else did I use? Laguna. And a little bit of Dijon. And you could see that I'm adding a lot of alcohol ink onto the gel plate. I'm gonna move this around a little bit with my blower tool because I don't want to use the brayer. Let's see what we get. All right, can't dry it too much. I'm gonna add that one here. Then I have this one here. Put that there. All right, I'm going to lift this up. Lift that one up. And then we're gonna kind of just let this dry a little bit. All right, I wanna try something. I'm gonna try adding a little bit of splatters here and there. This is just some Dijon. This is just gonna add to that texture on that background. All right, next is going to be a little bit of eggplant because I absolutely love this color. So, all right, and I'm just picking up that color and then just tapping my finger onto the paintbrush. This is just a flat brush. It's got a little bit of a slant to it, but it's not round. It doesn't have a lot of bristles on it. All right, so I'm going to use Pebble. I just put a bunch on my glass mat here, and then I'm going to take some bubble wrap, pick up that alcohol ink, and then just stamp it on the gel plate. Just like that. We're just adding to the background. All right. Now I can dry this completely. And I could see if it's dry, if obviously if the alcohol ink isn't moving. So this is pretty dry, I think. No, it's still a little bit tacky, so I'm just gonna give it just a second more. You do not want to use a heat tool on your gel plate. You will ruin your gel plate. If you have like a low heat hair dryer, that might work, but this works for me. All right, now we're going to add the reinker at the bottom, and then I'm just gonna pick it up and then gonna go back and forth, not too many times. This is probably too much. And then I'll take a piece of cardstock, and then I'm gonna lay that right down. Oh, I wanted to do the book paper. Totally forgot. That's okay. Look at that. That is so cool. I love just how it kind of mixes together, how it's not crisp. It's crisp in some areas, not others. It just kind of melts all together. Oh, it's so beautiful to me. I love that. And I love that I added all of those splatters on here as well. Looks amazing. So fun. I could do this all day, but I'm not going to because I have other things that I need to get done. All right, so I pulled out some of my older prints that I've done in the past just to give you an idea of some other color combinations or designs that you can do. I've typically used my long, I think it's like 12 by 6 gel plate or 11 by 6, I can't remember. But as you could see, I really love that square stencil from Finnabair, but sadly it's discontinued. There might be something similar on the market, I have no idea. This one I remember I put a bunch of the alcohol lift ink on top. It just kind of saturated the whole thing and it gives like a more dreamy look. And then here's another one. Love these. And then this is another one of my favorites. This color combination is so beautiful. And I love this color combination and the stencil as well. There's another one. Some circles on there. These. And then these are the ones that I did today. Oh no, I think I like this. Just like that. So pretty. So many different possibilities. I hope I've inspired you. If you end up creating anything inspired by this video or any of my other videos, I love to see it. So tag me on social media and I cannot wait to see what you all create. If you want to see more of this technique, be sure to check out this short playlist somewhere on the screen here where I did a couple lives using the alcohol lift ink and the hand sanitizer with the alcohol inks on the gel plate. That's a mouthful. You could see more in depth what I am doing and more talking through what I'm doing multiple times. So go check it out. It'll be right here. and I will catch you all later. Bye.